Welcome back to Primetime News, and a special welcome once again for those of you watching on onespotmedia.com. Concerns this evening from the Office of the Children's Advocate about reports of abuse in children's homes during the COVID-19 pandemic. Children's Advocate Diane Gordon-Harrison is calling for greater focus to be placed on the standard of care in these facilities. Anthony Lugg has the details.
From the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic in Jamaica March this year, the Office of the Children's Advocate warned that children could be at greater risk and called for the public to be more vigilant. Fast forward 7 months later, and our news team has learned that there have been 17 reports of child abuse in children's homes and places of safety between March and October 21. Children's Advocate Diane Gordon-Harrison is concerned.
You must realize that when you have a child who is taken from his or her family, which is a very extreme and disruptive, intervention, you are putting this child in a home, in a facility, with the expectation that the home and facility will not, in fact, be having an environment that exposes the child to any undue harm. And so while these are allegations, not proven, we still think there is an indication that it is a cause for concern and a cause to really take matters very closely in hand.
The complaints include physical abuse, sexual abuse, and neglect of duty. Mrs. Gordon-Harrison says the statistics highlight the need for more focus on the standard of care and the circumstances surrounding those living and working in the homes to ensure their minimum standards are being observed.
There is a recognition that we need to have the persons who are working in these facilities properly trained, not just at the outset when they're being placed into a facility, but there has to be continuing sensitization, continuing exposure to what is expected, and continuing accountability systems in terms of the standards that are to be observed. What we have discovered, and this really has been a feature of not just the situation in Jamaica, but certainly in other Caribbean territories, is that you'll have somebody who needs a job, who happens to work in a facility, or sometimes you will have persons who are not necessarily expected to have direct contact with the children, but because they're in the home, that contact becomes inevitable.
So, the complaints are in, but the children remain in state care. So what's the OCA's next move?
And we have all the files as active priority files, which means that the internal investigations have been commenced by the Office of the Children's Advocate, and that includes meeting with the children who are at the heart of these allegations, collecting the requisite statements and other forms of evidence to determine where, in fact, the truth lies, and also to push the matter to as far as it can go. So if there are accountability measures that need to be taken, those will be pursued. If there are recommendations, however, which need to be made on a broader systemic level, then those recommendations will be shared with the relevant authorities in due course once the investigations are complete.
In 2018, the OCA received 603 complaints of child abuse. That figure increased to 881 in 2019. Anthony Lugg, TVJ News.